On today's episode of the Locked On Texans podcast, Big Sarge, who poses the greatest threat for the Houston Texans Saturday as they take on the Kansas City Chiefs? Is it on the sideline? Is it on the field? We'll talk about it on today's show.
You are Locked On Texans, your daily podcast on the Houston Texans. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Battle Red Nation, welcome to this Friday episode of the Locked On Texans podcast. I'm your Texan credential media member and Texans football analyst, John Hickman, alongside the man with the big hat, stylish big hat, by the way, and the even bigger smile, Brian Big Sarge Barfield. We can't wait to talk to you guys about what we have going on. But first, shout out to our everydayers, our players from the Himalayas for making us your first listen of the day, for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today, we'll dive into the YouTube comments, take a look at the keys to victory, but we'll open up today's show just highlighting who will be the toughest matchup for the Houston Texans, a game where are we sure Patrick Mahomes is going to play? Did he talk to Lucifer again? And did he give away some more blood to play? I don't know. There's a lot surrounding Pat Mahomes and the sorcery theories. The Chiefs are just winning games and it seems like they should lose. Today's episode is brought to you by Hillsdale College. Go to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost and it's easy to get started. Big Sarge,
what's going down?
Listen here, man. The Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs combined for 17-4 in one-score victories.
Wow.
Both of those teams has been in some dog fights. The Kansas City Chiefs, a much more seasoned team, of course, back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They know how to win some of those dog fights. The Houston Texans trying to get there. I think this is going to be a dog fight Saturday as they take on the Chiefs. In your opinion, who poses the greatest threat for the Houston Texans?
It's funny you ask that because I know that everybody is waiting on me to say Chris Jones. It's going to be Chris Jones. I honestly and truly believe that is not who's going to pose the biggest threat to the Houston Texans on Saturday against the Kansas City Chiefs. You know who poses the biggest threat to them, John? The Houston Texans offense.
Oh man.
That's who poses the biggest threat to the Houston Texans. And don't get me wrong, listen, there's no way that I would ever take anything away from the Kansas City Chiefs.
Never. Forever's
a mighty long time. But I'm not taking anything away from head coach Andy Reid. I'm definitely not taking anything away from first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not taking anything away from first ballot Hall of Fame tight end Travis Kelce. I'm not taking anything away from. And here's where it gets tricky, John. Side note: D-Hop makes the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. And I'm
I like D-Hop. I'm a D-Hop fan. I'm just asking. I'm asking if it took Andre Johnson that long to get in the Hall of Fame, how long is it going to take D-Hop?
It's going to take a while, man. It's going to take a while for D-Hop. Y'all don't understand how great of a receiver I thought D-Hop was for a very long time in this league. He also went through some of the same things Andre Johnson had to go through, quarterback carousel, the whole nine. I hate to see how the tail end of his career has been ending off, but I think that's also due to the fact that I don't even want to get into it. Yes, he is a Hall of Fame eventually when he retires, maybe year 5 or 6.
I'm a D-Hop fan, bro. I'm a diehard D-Hop fan, talking to him on a consistent basis when he was with the Houston Texans. And so you got a Hall of Famer at coach. You got a Hall of Famer at quarterback. You got a Hall of Famer at tight end. You got a Hall of Famer at wide receiver. And with all of that, I would never, ever discount the Kansas City Chiefs and what they have done. Even this year with that 13-1 record, I can't discount it because their record speaks for itself, even though they haven't played their best football. This isn't the Kansas City Chiefs of old where you look and you just say that the Texans are walking in to a place where they're going to get blew out. I can't. But this week in this game, the biggest hurdle, the biggest obstacle the toughest matchup for the Houston Texans is the connection between Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator, and quarterback CJ Stroud.
Absolutely.
They have to be on the same page because we know what type of intensity that defense can bring. We know what that defense can do, even going up against Patrick Mahomes, which I think that this is they're going to take it up another level because they do know who they're playing against. They know where they're playing. They know what team they're playing against. So they're going to take it up another level. What the offense needs to do is they need to match that. They need to take their game up another level, and it's time. It's time. We cannot keep saying it over and over and over and over again because
we're waiting. We're waiting for him.
Done, it's a long time. So I think that the biggest matchup and the biggest hurdle and the biggest obstacle for the Houston Texans, the biggest matchup is the Houston Texans offense.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to piggyback off of you. I really think it's Bobby versus Spag.
Yeah.
That's probably the toughest matchup. And I say that because Bobby Slowick has played 3 defensive teams, top points per game defensive teams in the NFL so far. The Vikings, the Lions, Green Bay. 7 points to the Vikings, and that was a game that got away from him early.
Yep.
23 to the Lions. As we can remember, second half struggles. 22 to the Green Bay Packers, second half struggles. The narrative and the storyline all year for this offense has been these second half struggles. The EPA in the first half for the Houston Texans, for the most part of the year, in the positives, in the green. If this is a CEO running a company, you want to see that. In the second half, into the quarter type of year, okay, now we got to sell off a lot of different stuff because we ain't making no money. Negatives EPA for the Houston Texans offense in the second half. They continue to struggle. And I'm going to say this. The Kansas City Chiefs do not win that Super Bowl last year if Spags is not the defensive coordinator.
Yes.
That's how valuable of a DC, of a matchup he was for teams all last year. Same for this year. Maybe even more this year because that offense is struggling. And when you look at a lot of these one-score games for the Kansas City Chiefs, they're 10-1.
Yeah.
They're waiting on their offense to get it done. Not able to do so. The defense has been that good.
Yep.
Same for the Houston Texans, and I think the defense for the Houston Texans have been that good. However, offensively, when it matters most, Kansas City is getting more from their offense to convert downs and maybe get them in field goal range compared to the Houston Texans. But the toughest matchup this weekend will be Bobby Slowick versus Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah.
No way around it. And I say that because Spags has been able to get the best over a lot of offensive coordinators for the past couple of seasons. This will be a great moment for Bobby to have his moment. I'm not sure Bobby has had his moment yet.
Yeah.
And if he can do that Saturday against a very tough Chiefs defense, then we got to start giving him more respect, and I think some respect that he deserves. Also looking at the passing yards against some of the better passing defenses in the NFL. The Jets and Titans top 10, 247 against the Titans, 191 versus the Jets. More so alarming against the Jets. They just got to be better. And the expectation for this team this year was, great offense. Bobby Slowick has held them back a lot, and I think that if he can go out there and deliver, find a way to deliver, we'll look at this team a little bit differently heading into the playoffs.
That Jets game, there was no Nico, right? No Nico. And that's Stephon Diggs.
No Nico. No Diggs.
Yeah, so I think that we can take that. We can look at that a little bit different. John, I feel like you said what you said was key. You said we haven't seen that Bobby Slowick type game yet. We haven't seen
for 4 quarters.
Yeah, for 4 quarters. We haven't seen that CJ. We've seen glimpses of that old CJ Stroud against the Miami Dolphins. That pass he made to Tank Dell when he was going to the ground, looked like it was going to be a sack, and he made that play, even throwing back across his body to get that touchdown pass to Nico Collins. So, we've seen glimpses, and we haven't seen that, like you said, Bobby Slowick call game for 4 quarters. John, if they can get that going against the Kansas City Chiefs, I feel that'll carry over from Kansas City. They won't have time to really adjust. They're going to be coming off that type of high and roll right into Baltimore. roll right into Baltimore. And if they can win those 2 games going into Indianapolis, I wouldn't risk getting so many unless you're playing for a different type of seeding. But I wouldn't risk, getting my players hurt. But if they could get those back-to-back games being called and the offense is on point, I think that, that last game of the season would be one of those games where they're just trying to keep it all together heading into the playoffs.
Which is something they would absolutely need as they are in the gauntlet right now of this schedule. Now we got to talk about keys to victory. And I honestly think it's going to be short, sweet, and to the point. So don't go nowhere. We got more Texans talk on today's show. Hey, Texan fans, why not make not only the Houston Texans game, but also the NFL season much more exciting? You can do that with Prize Picks. Yeah, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Make your holidays even bigger and brighter with Prize Picks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. Not just NFL. NBA got some action going on too right now, y'all. College football, college basketball, all going on right now. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And Prize Picks is the best way to get in on the action in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Just right now, well, not just right now, but join anytime because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Pixmas. Like I said, man, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Download Prize Picks today. Download the app and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Also, Texan fans, football fans in general, it's that time of the year. College football playoff is back with the newly expanded 12-team format is guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing you all the hard-hitting and high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoffs begins December 21st, starting with college football playoff kickoff show presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern, leading into the first matchup, SMU battling Penn State at noon. Then Clemson Tigers look to upset Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch college football playoffs presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. Welcome back in, Locked On Texans listeners and viewers. Keys to victory, Sarge.
Yeah. Well, John, hold on, John. Keys to victory, and they've, I have mine ready, but John, I really want to hear what you have to say, and I think what you're going to have to say when it comes to the keys to victory is going to be what I'm going to probably piggyback off of, because sometimes I think we share a brain when we're doing this, John. Sometimes you'll say something, I'll be like, John, get out of my head. But John, what are your keys to victory?
So I got 2 keys to victory, but I think these are great keys to victory. Number one, you got to give CJ got to give his offensive line some great gifts for Christmas. Yeah. Let's go ahead. They ain't been the best, right?
Right.
And I know a lot of us has had this offensive line on the naughty list.
But so wait, HEB gift cards ain't gonna work?
For me, hey, listen, CJ will love me as a teammate because I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I love HEB. They ain't gonna work. They may need a couple bust down Audemars.
Yeah,
they may need a little bit because honestly, you want your offensive line to have some good morale as they get ready to take on Chris Jones in that defense.
Yeah,
and it ain't just who's an underrated player to me. My God, the linebacker number 32 for the Chiefs, Nick Bolton.
Yeah, who has some really good things to say about the Texans offense too.
One of the more underrated linebackers in the NFL. A lot of people don't talk about him a lot. He plays great. east, west, north, and south.
Yep.
And so he will be crashing down to make plays in the backfield. They're gonna do. They're gonna need to be the best version of themselves. So key to victory: protect CJ and be smart about it.
Yeah.
Keep your head on the swivel. And if your assignment ain't in your face, understand somebody else is getting some OT. So keep your head on the swivel. See what a protection, the extra assistance need to come from on the protection. See what a help is needed. See what a chip is needed. See what a combo is needed on a pass block, and get to where you need to be to make sure your quarterback has time to deliver those explosive plays. I think Landry Locker did a very good job of asking Bobby Sloat this question early in the week about the offense and how they were able to make what adjustment they were looking to make. And Bobby Sloyd mentioned they are one of the better explosive teams in the NFL offensively. Houston wants to hit those explosive plays. I think that's what's been holding them back because they haven't been able to do so. And the offensive line, I think, deserve a lot of that credit, which ain't good credit to take credit for. Secondly, don't play from behind the sticks. They did a very good job against Miami. I think on third downs, the average was about 3.5 to 4.5 yards compared to a lot this year, Sarge. We've seen Houston 38, 39. If you can keep those sticks short, the point of success shorter, then I think Houston will have a good opportunity to make some plays and keep drives sustained. The explosive plays are not what's hurting this team. It's when those explosive plays are not there. Houston is seeing a lot of cover two high shell safeties. When those explosive plays are not there, you are really seeing a breakdown on this offense because they can't do the small things on a larger scale consistently. And that's what's been hurting their offense.
John, those were some great keys to victory. Now I'm going to, go a little bit more of modern technology, what we use today, because there aren't too many people who still use keys to get in their house, John. So I'm going to push the security code. All right. So I'm going to push a little security
code to victory.
Here's my security codes to victory, right, John? First off, the run game has to get going.
Yeah.
And if the Texans can get the run game going, that's going to open it up for the pass game. Now, last week against the Miami Dolphins, Bobby said he went in trying to, get the pass game to open up the run game, and they did a very good job at the run game. I mean, at the pass game, but they didn't do an effective job at the run game. And rightfully so. You're starting a rookie at right tackle in Blake Fisher. You've moved Titus Howard from right tackle to left guard, and it's a big matchup for him this week because I'm pretty sure they're going to have Chris Jones lined up either over him, moving him back and forth in front of Titus, and then even over Jared Patterson. Sometimes they're probably going to try to take advantage of that, what I want to call a mismatch, and I'm calling it a mismatch because Jared and Titus aren't used to playing next to each other, so this is the second game that they'll get to learn each other. And side note, for those of you all out there saying that Titus needed positive affirmation from head coach D'Amico Ryans, he does not. He didn't ask for positive affirmation from D'Amico Ryans. He didn't ask to be coddled. He didn't ask to be babied. The comments that D'Amico made was the comments that D'Amico wanted to make. Only thing that Titus said, and the reason why I know this because I've been in the locker room talking to Titus. The only thing Titus said was when he was asked, he says, "I'm a tackle," and that's what he is. He's a tackle. But they asked him to play left guard because he is one of the more versatile players on that offensive line for the Houston Texans, and so he can play pretty much every position except center. It's still the only position I don't think that Titus can play, but any tackle position and any guard position, Titus can play. And John, you know this better than anybody because I get a chance to pick your brain a lot when we're out at training camp. I mean, him moving from right tackle to left guard, John, that takes a lot, right?
Absolutely. Not only are you playing a different position, you're playing a different side.
Yeah.
And so your stance can be, you got to change your stance a little bit. You got to change your stance a lot of bit when you play tackle compared to guard.
Yeah.
Tackle may have their stance is really made for more so of a wide kick back to, especially in today's NFL with the amount of passes we see quarterback throw. So, they want to protect their quarterback. They kind of lean towards making sure that they can kind of kick back, kick step a little bit quicker and further. So not to get into all of that. Yes, I'm sorry.
No. That's what I wanted, John. That's what I wanted because, some people were trying to judge Titus and give him a grade off of playing left guard and trying to evaluate. And I'm saying this man hasn't played this position in I don't know how long, and you're asking him to go from protecting everything from the right to now protecting everything from the left, and it isn't as easy as taking the elevator and the stairs. Like you got to get, it's not that easy. You got to get back acclimated to doing those type of things. So I think that they have to get the run game going. I think that they have to get the run game going behind Laramie Tunsil. I think they have to get the run game going behind Titus Howard. But I also think, John, that one of the keys to victory is all-pro sting. And what I mean by all-pro sting, I'm talking about the AFC Defensive Player of the Week, Texans cornerback Derek Stingley versus, and I know that we talked about matchups earlier. I'm talking about Sting going up against Patrick Mahomes. Because if you know anything about these two players, you know that both of them are very competitive. Both of them are dogs in their field as far as their positions is concerned. And both of them aren't afraid of each other. Patrick Mahomes is going to try to see what he can do to beat Stingley on that one side. He doesn't want to allow Stingley to shut down an entire side of a field, and that could be with him being on Xavier Worthy or him being on DeAndre Hopkins. He doesn't want to have to not be able to throw to that side and only have to try to throw against Kamari Lassiter, who, we talked earlier in the week, John, who's also having a hell of a rookie year. And so that matchup, you're also going to have Stingley like, I'm not going to allow Patrick Mahomes to beat me. And I know that Patrick Mahomes does a lot of things off script. I know that he is one of the more exciting quarterbacks who can extend a play. John, there's only one other quarterback that I've seen that can extend a play like Patrick Mahomes. And I know everybody's going to be like, oh, he's talking about Josh Allen. No, I'm talking about the way Ben Roethlisberger, former Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, used to be able to extend plays. But he did that because he was just a big human being, a massive human being, Pauls, who would not, go down easily when after the first hit. They take 2 or 3 defenders to bring him down. And so him being able to just extend the plays like that, Patrick Mahomes is able to extend plays with his legs, with his mind, with his wit. And I honestly, John, I honestly think that he was saved this week too with no Aziz Al-Shahir with the way that he wants to fake those runs up the sideline. But that's another story for another time. That's it. Just all-pro Sting matching wits against Patrick Mahomes is going to be very interesting. But I think that Stingley can shut down one side of a field and make Patrick Mahomes go to the other side.
We may need to send Delson Phillips out there on a crash dummy mission. third and 11. Patrick Mahomes is going to
Jamal Hill.
Send one of them youngers out there and just say, you know what, we got you covered on that fine. We just need for you to go rough them up a little bit. I will say this though before we move on. You talk about running the ball. Houston definitely needs to run the ball just effectively. Not looking for a 100-yard game, just looking for maybe 4 yards a pop. This is a team in Kansas City that's only allowing 3.9 yards a pop. And so for Houston, it's all about, again, not playing behind the sticks. If we get a positive run on second down and we're looking at we're looking at 3rd and 5, I'll take that. I don't want to see Houston constantly in 3rd and 7 and long. Yeah. And if the run is not there, then it goes back to the matchup. Okay, for Bobby Slowick, how can I substitute the run if it's not there? How can I get Dalton Schultz and John Mechie involved?
Mechie's out this week.
I'm sorry.
Shoulder injury.
Not John Mechie. Dalton Schultz and Tank Dell involved. How can those two guys create problems underneath for the defense. That's what I
Robert
really
Woods is
want
going to be
see.
good for this type of game as well.
Absolutely. And I got to
Possession wide
walk back my
receiver.
disrespect for Robert Woods. I thought he should have been cut, but Robert has played some good snaps for the Houston Texans this year. Now we got to dive into the YouTube.
Oh, wait. Hold on, John. Hold on. You said that you called for Robert Woods to be cut, right? Earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert, that's John_Hickman on the app
me.
formerly known as Twitter.
That was me, Bobby Trees. Hey, you know what? Hopefully we can see some Jerry Wayne this week. He got a couple of snaps a couple games ago. Jerry Wayne is a friend of the show, man. I'm always rooting for Jay Wayne. But we're ready to dive into the YouTube comments?
Of course I am.
They've been talking. We got more Locked On Texans. What's going on, Texans fans? Listen, some of us know that we need to do a better job of just letting our brain work, giving our brain some activities. And time is our most precious commodity. You don't have to waste it scrolling through mindless and numbing content for hours and hours. You can spend it wisely to improve yourself. You can do that with our sponsor, Hillsdale College, who is offering 40 free, that's right, free online courses, including Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, the introduction to free market economics. That's right. You can get your string of bell on. Just don't go around trying to set nobody up. College is where you need to be, and Hillsdale College is making it even easier and accessible. They also offer the rise and fall of the Roman Republic, and my favorite, a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. Some good things that they're offering right now, fans and listeners. So all Hillsdale courses are self-paced, so you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or you can just enjoy the lectures. Right now, go to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register today. Welcome back in, Locked On Texans fans. Thank you for making Locked On Texans your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, go find new Locked On NFL with 2 new shows every day. First, the Madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso, and then stop by the barbershop. Me and Sarge had to do that. And while we was doing it, we was listening to Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. I just want to say this. My high school quarterback never got us nothing for Christmas.
Really?
No, and you know what? I feel away, and I'm not trying to make this personal because you know what, man? We went on the stretch of games to make the playoffs, and it was by the grace of God and the offensive line that we were able to run our way to the playoffs. So, if my high school quarterback hears this, I want him to know I need something.
Hey, don't feel bad, John. My high school quarterback didn't either. He played for the Chargers. He made it all the way to the Chargers. He still didn't reach back and give us nothing.
It's something about, I'm telling you, it's some skinny dudes, man. They forget about us big boys, man. I'm telling you, I'm starting the campaign. But let's dive into the YouTube comments, Big Sarge. You guys have been extremely active. You guys have been the best, always the best Texan fans. We got to shout out to you guys.
Battle Red Nation.
Angel Anguano 4707. Excuse me if I mispronounced your name. Bobby is holding them back. CJ needs to just call these plays himself. He's smart enough to do it. He's just too loyal to Bobby. And then Terrence Johnson 8005 says to that comment, CJ the problem.
What?
CJ is not the problem, guys.
No, CJ is not the problem. And I think that comment came from when I said earlier this week that we've gotten to a point where I feel like CJ can call his own plays. CJ can call his own plays. He's more and let him call the ones that he's comfortable with, the ones he knows that's not going to get him hit, sacked, or pressured.
Really quick, I just want to say this. It's been on my mind all week. We have not given enough credit to CJ Stroud for being one tough SOB.
Oh, man.
And yes. I'm not saying that. Please don't take what I just said and run it. I'm not calling nobody anything. I'm just speaking in terms of man talk. That was a knock on CJ coming out of Ohio State.
Was it?
Oh, yeah. We had my man Locked On Buckeyes on the show, and talked to a lot of guys behind the scene, and they say, man, when things get rattled for CJ, when he starts getting hit a lot, CJ you'll see a different version of him compared to when things are perfect. He's almost a perfect pocket quarterback. We didn't see a lot of it last year. We were seeing more of it this year. And he's been able to game after game go out there and compete still. He's tougher than a lot of people gave him credit for.
Yes, he really is, John. That's a great point.
Let's see. Reginald Rager, 2143. The people who think Mahomes is not playing is crazy. He gets hurt around this time every year. Same ankle injury. I think that's funny because he's gonna play Saturday, Sarge.
Yeah, and you know what, John? I never. Well, I'm not gonna say never. I look at it like this. I've seen Patrick Mahomes play on one leg before. Like I've seen him win a Super Bowl, I think, on one leg. And so, I think that the injury looked worse this past Sunday and got better throughout the week with the treatment. My only thing is, yes, he's going to play, but how is he going to move and manipulate the pocket like he's used to doing when he has two people like Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson chopping at the bits to grab him and hit him? Oh, and Tim Settle Jr.
Please, I was about to say, you got to come on now. Don't forget the big dog up front.
Tim is amazing, bro. He's one of the best finds for the Houston Texans.
Absolutely. And they've done this for back-to-back seasons now. Like last year, we fell in love with Khalil Davis, and I think Khalil just played some good football for him. Traded him out this year. Tim Settle has came right in. And, this may be a dad joke, but he's settled in. Okay.
Am I invisible? You can still see me?
I can still see. Okay.
Okay.
That didn't land. All right. But he has settled in to this defensive line unit. He's played great for the Houston Texans.
Yes.
And again, Raw Wright.
Yeah.
Hey man, yeah. I don't know. I hope D'Amico has a coaching tree because some of these guys, man, I don't know how long they're gonna stay where they at.
Hey, John, and listen.
This is Rod's first year full time now. He was assistant last year with D-line. First year, what he's doing, and them boys is dogging out. Man.
John, on Thursday, the Houston Texans had a community event where they gave away 100 bikes for to kids from around HISD, and Rod Wright was standing there talking to Robert Smith, and I heard Robert Smith tell him, former, Houston Texans player. I heard Robert tell him, man, what you've done with this line this year is amazing. I thought that was big coming from a player who played the way like Robert Smith was Tim Settle Jr. before Tim Settle Jr.
He got them boys. Who's been a bigger surprise on that D line? Has it been Tim Settle?
Yes, because coming into the season, John, I didn't know a lot about Tim Settle, and I watched him through training camp, and I kept saying he kept showing up. And he kept showing up and he kept showing up. And I'm saying to myself, this guy can play. Because you remember, John, there was the biggest thing that you and I talked about as well at training camp was how are they going to give all these defensive linemen snaps? How all these defensive tackles going to get snaps? And at that time, Khalil Davis was still there. Mm-hmm. And, you had Kurt Hinish. And, you're saying to yourself, who? But every practice, John, all you seen was Tim Settle Jr., and I'm saying, this young man can play. So he's one of the biggest surprises on that defense for me.
All together. Yeah. And shout out to the Houston Texans showing some love to Madden in Law Elementary, South Park in the house. Yeah. Thank y'all for watching today's episode of the Locked On Texan podcast. As always, we appreciate you. Follow me on Twitter at John_Hickman12. Also like, subscribe, and comment to the Locked On Texan page as well.
And you can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Star Sports with the Z at the end. Make sure you are following for all the updates from Saturday's games, live updates from Arrowhead Stadium.
And Sarge also goes live on Twitter Spaces at halftime.
Yes, so make sure you join that. We're definitely the Locked On Texans. The Locked On Texans podcast will be in the house at Arrowhead Stadium.
There you go. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, which will probably be, Saturday night, Sunday. We'll see y'all soon. Peace.